Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the fighting that is taking place inside of Sudan. We continue to see heavy fighting, heavy exchanges of both artillery and lots of small arms fire between the forces of the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese military. Now, at the start of this operation, as we have talked about before, we observed the Rapid Support Forces attempt a decapitation strike, not in the sense of an airstrike or any of that sorts, but a physical seizure of the Sudanese military command areas, such as the Ministry of Defense, the Ground Forces Command, the Sudanese Air Force in Khartoum. We saw the Rapid Support Forces take control of Khartoum International Airport and really going after the centers of power in Khartoum. Now, the Rapid Support Forces were not successful in decapitating or eliminating all the key leadership members of the Sudanese armed forces. And that is where we are today, with the Rapid Support Forces essentially taking shelter in many civilian areas across Khartoum out of fear of airstrikes by both the Sudanese armed forces and the armed forces of Egypt as well. And outside of Khartoum, the Rapid Support Forces are finding it very, very difficult to maneuver around the country. So you'll see the Rapid Support Forces dug in like ticks in Khartoum, and you will also see Rapid Support Forces existing in the Darfur region in southwestern Sudan as well. Now, the problem for the Rapid Support Forces is they really don't have the same logistical capacity as the Sudanese army, and especially the support that the Sudanese army, Sudanese Air Force receives from Egypt and other nation states. So without having logistical support, with the Rapid Support Forces not having that logistical support and looking for that early round knockout of the Sudanese armed forces, which it was not able to do, it is now forced to gather logistical support through essentially looting the populace of Sudan. And that's causing quite a bit of disdain for the Rapid Support Forces. So in Khartoum and other areas, in order for the Rapid Support Forces to survive and feed itself, it is taking from the civilian population. And that is leading to hostilities on the part of the civilian populations in various areas of Sudan, turning on the Rapid Support Forces. The Sudanese armed forces know this. And at this point, they appear to be perfectly okay with allowing the Rapid Support Forces to continue to occupy various areas of Khartoum, knowing that eventually the general population is going to turn on them. They're going to run out of food. They're going to run out of supplies. And then essentially it's going to be in game. Now, at some point they may leave Khartoum, the Rapid Support Forces, which will then give the Sudanese military the ability to strike those Rapid Support Forces, which they have done in the past when the Rapid Support Forces have attempted to move areas outside of some of the major cities. We know over the last 24 hours, there have been several airstrikes in North Khartoum. I believe you call this the Bahri neighborhood in this area here, just on the north side of the Blue Nile. We're still trying to figure out who controls the bridges across the Blue Nile. We believe at least one or two are still controlled by Rapid Support Forces. But again, the Sudanese military has the ability to call in airstrikes, and then obviously the Egyptian armed forces as well can launch very precise airstrikes against some of these Rapid Support Force checkpoints that have been set up through Khartoum. But again, there's been several airstrikes in this district against what we believe are supply points for the rapid support forces that have been set up. Again, right now we're seeing the rapid support forces go into some of these market areas, take from the civilian populace, and thereby turning the civilian populace against them. And again, that's because the rapid support forces do not have the same sort of logistical capability as the regular Sudanese armed forces. And then again, the greatest power negator for the Sudanese armed forces is the Air Force. The Sudanese Air Force is firmly in the control of the Sudanese armed forces. It's still very much loyal to the Sudanese armed forces and is actively bombing and fighting against the rapid support forces, again with the help of the Egyptian Air Force as well. So very difficult situation for the rapid support forces. Additionally, we're starting to see some of the areas in the east of the country that has never been completely supportive of the rapid support forces. And these are some fairly larger towns, such as Port of Sudan and other areas that are now starting to take up arms and deploy forces against the rapid support forces. Now, could we see large amounts of manpower being moved from some of these eastern locales, such as the Port of Sudan, being mobilized and then moving against the rapid support forces? Again, Port of Sudan completely under the control of the Sudanese armed forces, and again, the populace of Port of Sudan is right now is supportive of the Sudanese military. So again, very difficult situation for the rapid support forces. And eventually, there will either be a political situation, or we believe the rapid support forces will be destroyed as a military entity, as an armed entity. Now, the problem that we're seeing is, could this lead to possibly failed state status for Sudan? If things continue to break down, if we see anarchy, if we see the rise of various militia groups, non-state actors start to form, take up arms, and essentially create zones of semi-autonomy. And again, this leads to chaos, and then again, this leads to possible other elements, some external elements coming into Sudan, making things worse. So difficult to say. We're not quite at the point where we will classify this as a civil war. We still believe that the Sudanese military could get a handle on things, eventually either get a political situation, a political remedy with the RS, the Rapid Support Forces, or destroy the Rapid Support Forces through military firepower. But that's where we're at right now. We will continue to monitor. We will continue to report. Thank you for joining us today. More to come very, very soon. And as always, have a good day.